why has moral pluralism been so downplayed? If it's so true, why doesn't everybody recognize it? Now, to do that, to explain why that is the case, I'm going to, in 10 minutes, give you the entire history of the West. Once upon a time, the circum-Mediterranean world, influenced in, let's say, 2,000 years ago, influenced by late Hellenism and the collapse of the Republic in Rome, was characterized by people who were highly skeptical, with divergent views of morality. It was multicultural, multi-ethnic, highly plural. Few people actually thought that one could establish a particular moral vision as canonical. The West was then changed, or temporal mores, by us Germans. They came down, the Germans, the Goths, remember, Rome gets pillaged in August 410 by Alaric, and for the next 400 years it's like motorcycle gangs going through Europe again and again and again. And finally there is a Pope of Rome, Pope Leo III, who had a kind of Enron scandal. And there was a young Frank by the name of Charles. He wanted not just to be king of the Franks, he wanted to be emperor. Now the trouble was there was an empress alive and well in New Rome, Constantinople, Irene. There's actual evidence that he sent letters to her. You can only imagine the shock of this well-bred Greek lady getting semantic and syntactically deviant letters from a Frank. But obviously it didn't go through, Irene, I'll see you in my dreams. What happened then is that Charles the Great told Leo, I'll take care of your accounting problems, I'll send in some soldiers. All of it is set aside, and what happens is that on Christmas, 800, after the third Mass, Charles is crowned emperor by Leo III, and a brand new culture develops. Charles was into education. All of a sudden, theology becomes something taught in cathedral schools, and as one marches then to the high Middle Ages, there is a synthesis of cultures that creates Roman Catholicism, namely Aristotelian understandings about natural law, Stoic understandings about natural law, and Christianity. So that the view came that one could, by reason alone, come to know most of the things that one could know by faith. Franciscus Salvatorius said there were no natural law arguments against usury, against fornication and lying. Surely Kant thought that you could give an argument against fornication and lying, but not against usury. But generally, all the stuff that you thought you had to know by faith was then secured by reason. Along came, and now we're already halfway through the 10-minute lecture of all of Western thought, along came the bloody religious wars in Europe, the Civil War, not the late unpleasantness, from 1642 to 1649 when King Charles is decapitated on the 30th of January, and the 30-Year War, 1618 to 1648, in Central Europe. Afterwards, people thought, you know, religion just leads to bloodshed. We'll have faith and reason. So the Enlightenment takes off with a hope that, totally grounded in the medieval synthesis, if it were true that reason could do what all that faith did, let's just do reason. So off it goes, and then as one goes past the French Revolution, people realize there's not just one sense of reason, but many senses of reason. And there are many senses of morality and justice as there are established major religions. That's postmodernity. Everybody sees that. To get that across, I mean, amongst the things, many sins of my youth that Father Macy did not refer to, I was a deputy sheriff in Comal County. Now imagine I'm a deputy sheriff in 1275. Imagine that I'm in London and there are a whole bunch of people drunk as skunks, and the sheriff sends me in to hush them up. I come in and I say, hush up, y'all. And you say, by what authority can you tell me to hush up? I said, you're stereotyping me. I mean, I may be a peace officer, but I went to Paris. I got a PhD in philosophy and a doctorate of theology under Thomas Aquinas himself. I couldn't get a job in the academy, so I went into piecework to support myself. But you'll fetch out your Bibles, look at Romans 13:4. It says the authority of the government comes from God, and that authority does not carry the sword in vain. I got the sword from God. Besides that, let's go through how Thomas Aquinas, in his commentary on Aristotle's Politics, argued for the ways in which one should think about politics, recto ratio, and act about recto ratio agibus, and you'll see that I'm part of that rule of law that reason justifies. You say, wow, that's heavy. We shut up. Now imagine you're in the same bar and it is 1690. Again, skunkers, duckers, skunks, the people are yelling, and the sheriff comes in, hi sheriff, and he says, shut up y'all. You say, by what authority? Well, the last thing the sheriff or deputy sheriff should do is bring out the Bible. I mean, 1690, you just barely got beyond the Civil War. If you bring out the Bible, all the Anglicans will go after the Presbyterians after Anglicans, and both of them after Roman Catholics and the Jews. You don't want that. You say, well, look, you're just stereotyping me again. I studied at Oxford with John Locke. Neither John Locke or I could make any money in philosophy. He went into medicine. I went into philosophy. But let me walk you through John Locke's second treatise on government, so you will understand that one needs a lawful authority to be able to adjudicate disputes regarding property, where life is also understood as property, and the peace as a property that others possess. You say, heavy, fantastic, you shut up. Imagine now you're in 2010, and you go into the postmodern honky-tonk, and they're screaming and yelling, and the deputy sheriff comes in and says, excuse me, I don't want to bother anyone. Is anyone doing to anyone any of these disgusting things without the person's permission? No. Okay, have fun. One sees a deflation in the capacity to understand what it is, both to be able to appreciate a canonical morality as well as the authority of the state. Recognize that Immanuel Kant, had he been right, then philosophers would have been the most important people in the universe. Immanuel Kant lived between 1724 and 1804, and he wants to argue that there is a total concert between morality and rationality and the authority of the politics and moral community. Had he been right, what morality would be what philosophers held would constitute rational action, and the Kantian sheriff would be the agent of morality and rationality itself. So when the Kantian sheriff would give you an attitude adjustment, you would not be treated heteronomously but autonomously and brought back to your true respect of the moral law, and everybody would have been members of one moral community whether they knew it or not. That was the Enlightenment dream that hoped to substitute for the Western Christian moral dream. And what I've been going through up to now are grounds for holding why it is in principle false.